And there's production assistant Alex as well. How you doing, buddy? Gonna help me make some videos today? We got Alex. We got Harley. We've got my pack that I'm gonna try to organize. And it's gonna be fun. Hi everybody. Welcome to the first episode of 2021 from Tim on the Fly. Bit cold outside. It's just a couple days after the New Year's. We've had some snow, we've had some ice, we've had some cold, and the water's that state that it gets into around here where it's too thin to walk on and too thick to fish through. So now's a good time to do the things that you need to do for the season. I've got my licenses bought. Today I'm sitting here with my production assistant Harley, and we're going through the fly boxes, going through our my pack, and getting things organized and ready to go. So I figured since we were doing that, I'd go ahead and give you a quick walkthrough on what I take with me in my pack. What all goes into that. I like to keep it fairly simple, but let's kind of take a look. So the pack itself is pretty basic. There's not a whole lot going on there. It's just a real simple Sling style backpack. Single strap, goes over the shoulder, allows you to carry almost everything you need on your back when it's out of your way while you're casting, but at the same time be easy to access. You don't have to take the whole pack off to get into it, so if you're wading you can just swing it around front and get into it easily. I've had vests, I've had chest packs, and I've come around to this just being the easiest and most friendly way to go. I can hang some of the stuff that I need pretty commonly off of the front strap. I've got my nippers. I've got my fly drying and or strike indicator drying patch in the case of the wool or polypropylene yarn indicators that I like to use. I've also got my forceps hanging off of the strap, and those will be all right there close and handy when it's time to get to them. Keep my fly floating, hanging off of the back. Chances are I'll be applying it at the same time that I'm getting into my pack, so it being back there usually isn't a problem. Everything else is going to go inside. I've got one great big nice opening here with a few side pockets in it on each side that are going to help for organizing. I've got another pocket here that's going to carry it's designed as a water bottle pocket, but I usually don't use it for that. I usually shove other stuff in there. And then I've got one zippered compartment up front here. So let's take a look at what goes inside those pockets and how they all fit in. So the first thing that's going to go in here is my my leader butt sections, my sinking leader butt sections, so that I can convert my floating fly lines to sink tips fairly easily. And that's going to just slide right in one of the side pockets right there. So then the next thing into the pack is going to be my leaders. I carry a fairly good assortment of leaders, starting about 3X, 5X. I get some heavy stuff. I'll carry some 10-pound and some 12-pound bass leaders as well. Those are going to give me a good range for everything from bluegill on up to bass, white bass, carp, everything I need, and they're going to slot into that pocket just right next to my sinking leader butt. So that's all going to be right there. All my leader and sink tip essentials are going to be right there in that one side, real easy to get to. I'm also going to put in, this is something I'm just going to start playing with this year. I'm also going to put in some very, very small barrel swivels and some very small fluorocarbon swivels that I'm going to start using with my streamers. I've got some big, bulkier streamers that tend to twist the leader a little bit when I'm casting them. They tend to want to spin in the air. So I am going to put those in there and try some butt sections. Hopefully there'll be a video on that later on. So in another exterior pocket where they're a little easier to get to on the outside of my pack, we're going to put my tippet spools. I'm going to carry tippet spools in the sizes that match the leaders I'm carrying, the 3s, the 5s, and some of the heavier stuff. But I'm also going to carry some lighter tippet spools. I'm going to have some 6X and some 5X, 4X, some things that I can build down to from where I've got my leader set up, so that I've got a little bit more versatility built in there. Those are just going to slot in that pocket. A lot of people like to carry these on a tippet holder on the outside of the pack, but I find that that gives your tippet a lot of unnecessary UV exposure that you don't need to be putting them through. This way they're staying dark, they're staying out of the sun, and they're going to last a lot longer. So the next thing that goes into the box is going to be a tape measure. A lot of times I'll carry a bump board with me, but the tape measure comes in nice if I'm expecting to catch fish that I want to keep, and so size limits are a big thing. I'm going to take the bump board with me because you get better, faster measurements that way. But I keep the tape measure with me just in case I do catch, you know, a really, really nice fish that I want to measure. Even if I just plan on putting him back, if it comes as a surprise, I've got the tape measure there to get a measurement. Also in that pocket on the bottom where the water bottle would normally go, except for I carry my water bottle on my belt usually, I'm going to put that tape measure in there. And then my strike indicators are also going to go in there. And I've got quite an assortment of strike indicators here. I don't think you can really see it in there, but I've also got a needle for making wool indicators. And so I'm also going to carry some wool material to make those indicators in a couple of different colors. And that's also going to go down in that bottom pouch there, like that. And because we're still in our pandemic, I've got my mask. And you know, it's not the sort of thing you really need when you're out fishing because you're usually socially isolating very well. But if a game warden comes along or somebody wants to stop in close and talk, then we've got that option. And some people are more comfortable if you pop on that mask, so I just kind of carry it along. Hopefully I won't have to carry it much longer. So last but not least, this big pocket here is going to get itself filled up with fly boxes. And one of the things that really pushed me towards the packs instead of a vest is being able to carry larger boxes so that I could keep more flies organized in a smaller number of boxes, so I don't have to spend as much time going through those boxes. So I've gone from, instead of a whole bunch of small boxes, I've gone to some fairly good sized boxes here so that I can keep most of my flies organized. I've got my streamers in this box. Some people might say that I've got a little bit of a problem when it comes to rabbit strip and pine squirrel zonker flies. One entire side of this box is going to be dedicated to those. And then the other side is going to be clouser minnows and crayfish flies and things like that, other kinds of streamers that I want to carry along. So I've got one box that's going to be devoted very nicely to streamers. And it's going to slot right in one side of that bag right there. And then the other box is going to be nymphs on one side. Get over here out of the glare so you can see that. Going to be nymphs on one side and dry flies on the other side. For panfish, every once in a while you'll get into a situation where even some of the larger fish are taking bugs, and so it's always nice to have a selection of dry flies along. So I'll slot those in, and both of those boxes fit in there real nicely. Still give me a lot of room. And so, because, you know, we're all fly fishermen, we can't have room. That's got to fill itself. So I do have a couple of smaller boxes. One is going to have flies in it that I'm expecting to need for whatever's going on at that particular time of the year. And so one of the first things up is going to be spring white bass and walleye. So I've got some streamers here for white bass and walleye. But I've also got some bugs on the other side for, you know, early panfish and things like that, you know, bluegill and things. That's going to slide in right there. And then I've got another small box with some bigger flies in it and some experimental flies that I've just tied that I want to test out. They get lost in those bigger boxes and I tend to forget about them, so having one box dedicated to those helps remind me that, hey, I've got this fly that I need to try out. So it's going to slot right in there too. And that's going to pretty much round things out as far as the box goes. It's going to zip right up. Maybe it's going to zip right up. Keep forgetting that box has got to go up there. And so now everything is zipped up and ready to go. We're all packed. All we've got to do is throw this guy on my back. We didn't say anything about this front pocket because I don't really use it too much for I don't really use it too much for storage. What it does is once I get fishing, this pouch here is going to be used for used leaders, things like that that I need to get thrown away when I get back home. I'll stick them in there, just kind of a general empty leader packets, things like that that are going to need to get taken care of. And then I've got a drying patch hung in the rest of the pocket so that I can keep flies that need to be sorted and put away later on in there where they'll stay neat. A lot of people will put the drying patch on the outside, but I have a bad habit of forgetting that stuff is there, and it winds up scraped off on the inside of my car. I find them stuck to the car seat, or I wind up losing them on brush walking through the weeds and stuff. So having that patch on the inside of the pocket really helps keep me from losing flies. So there you have it. There you have my my organizational system. In one place, I've generally got enough stuff to fish for whatever I'm going to fish for the year without having to interchange a lot of boxes, interchange a lot of leaders and everything. Carries really comfortable on my back, stays out of the way until I need it, and when I need it, there it is. So there you have it. There's the pack all packed up, ready to go. All I've got to do now when the fishing conditions are right is grab it out of the car, throw it over my shoulder, grab a rod, and I'm ready to roll. So here's hoping that those fishing days will come along soon, and you guys will be able to come along for more fishing episodes. Good fishing, tight lines, and we'll see you in the next one.